This is another spicy little montage that I cobbled together with my numerous gigabytes of Splitgate 2 footage. And this is just going to be playing in the background while I discuss some things that I think will make Splitgate 2 just a little bit better. I really enjoy this game. I think it's got a really solid foundation, and there are just a few little quality of life improvements that can make it even better, and some additions that could take it to the next level, if you will. And I just need to start out by saying that this is not just going to be me shitting on the game. I really enjoy this game. I think it's really special. This is the most fun that I've had with a multiplayer first-person shooter since the Titanfall games. And I want it to continue to succeed. I want it to be long-lasting. And I think these things will help it do that. Number one, the first thing that really comes to mind is the maps. I think that there just needs to be more of them. You can never have enough maps, and especially when the map design is already pretty good from what I've seen. I haven't played a single map in Splitgate 2 that I haven't at least liked in some capacity. Some I like more than others. Obviously, my favorites are probably Grit and Frontier. I really like Eden too, because I like the kind of a gravity booster into the slide down the catwalk into the main spawn areas. That's pretty cool, and I think that they're a step up and a half from the maps in the first game. I just like to see more of them, more variety, of course. The more maps you have, the more variety you can have in your experience when you load into a game on any given day at any given time. It's kind of common sense. I think in recent times we've gotten too used to games releasing with like less than 10 maps, and I just think that that's kind of unacceptable. I think that was one of the big problems with Halo Reach, even though I still love Reach to death. That game only shipped with 9 maps, and you definitely felt fatigue from those 9 maps, and those 9 maps had to be supplemented with Forge maps, which just weren't as good, obviously, because they didn't have the same visual variety that the handcrafted, or not the handcrafted, but the unique maps did. And then when you look at a game like the first Titanfall, that game shipped with 15 maps, but then that game only had 1 shotgun, and you're like, what the fuck? All these maps are really beautiful, they're really interesting, they're really good, but the rest of the game is fucking starving to death. There's nothing else to do here. I played it for about 12 hours and I'm done. But tangent over, my ADHD came in strong there. I need to control myself, but alas, I am a silly little bitch sometimes. But the next thing, so I'm just gonna try to stay on topic here. The next thing, game modes, specifically playlist issues that I've noticed. Now, the Splitgate 2 developers like to do this thing where they add in a playlist for like a week or a couple weeks, and then they take that playlist out and they change it with something else. There's like arena or onslaught graffiti, shoddy snipers that are rotating in and out currently. And my thought is, why not just have every single game mode individually available so that people can filter what they want to play? Same thing with the arena quick play. When you're talking about the smaller arena maps, you have an option for the takedown mode and the team deathmatch mode. And that's it. There's no individual options for domination, hot zone, firecracker, any of those. I like all those game modes, and I wish that I could just load in to play specifically those game modes. It's a little bit annoying when you go into arena quick play, and that's the only way that you can play hot zone or something like that. Like, I just think that's kind of common sense as well. Arena quick play, I mean, it does put a lot of people in a certain playlist to play certain game modes, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's the way it's been with older FPS games. I mean, when you think about Call of Duty, you had your team death matches, your free-for-alls, your domination, headquarters, yada yada, list goes on and on. Same thing with Halo. You had Social Slayer, Team SWAT, Big Team Battle, Infection. Like, there's no reason to lump all of these arena game types into one playlist that you can't filter. And additionally, on the playlist issue, there is a portion of the community that plays this game that has voiced their concerns that there's no playlist for no portals, essentially. Splitgate 2 has a fantastic game feel, and the arena combat is so good on its own that this would be a perfectly playable and a perfectly enjoyable game without portals. And some people, the fact is, some people just don't want all the chaos and all the quick reactions and all the things that you need to pay attention to in order to play with the portals. And I think that's a completely valid way that someone could play the game. And this No Portals playlist was present in the first game, and it was pretty popular playlist, so I don't understand why it's not in there. But who knows, maybe they're working on it and adding it, but they definitely should, especially since it was already a standard in the previous title. I think that some sort of game mode where you use only power weapons would be pretty fun. So the other side of Splitgate 2, the more creative side, the lab, which is a map editor, it would be really nice if there was a playlist made where they would put in either popular or more heavily played community created maps, just so that people could try things out for themselves. Maybe curate it a little bit, you know, go through, do some testing, make sure that it doesn't absolutely suck dick, and then put it in there. And it would help people kind of delve into that more player created content side of the game. The 24 player takedown or what, onslaught, whatever the game mode is, essentially the big team battle is what you have also in this game. And this mode does not work for me personally, and I'm going to try my best to explain why right now. So this 24 player mode, you are put on this fucking massive, this map has a dumpy on it. These maps are so huge for absolutely no reason. I don't understand. I'm guessing because they thought they needed to make it insanely large because of the 24 player count, but what ends up happening is these maps are like battlefield size maps. Well, that's a little ridiculous. They're not battlefield size maps, that's a little hyperbole, but they're super large and they have no flow. The only flow is where people go to capture the objectives. The game mode doesn't work for me because the maps are too big, A, and B, they're too big for no reason because you can just portal everywhere, so you can just cross a huge section of the map. So most of the game becomes busy work when you die, having to portal back to where you're going just to get killed immediately right away, because the time to kill is pretty quick in this game. And you just are going back and forth, dying constantly, back and forth, portal here, portal there. There's no vehicles, there's no other variations to this big team battle kind of game mode. It's just capture these points. It's essentially like a big game of domination from Call of Duty. The points can be captured, they can be uncaptured, yada yada yada. The other problem I have with this mode is the power weapons. There's power weapons that drop and power weapons that spawn, but these spawns are so infrequent, and the game is divided up into different rounds where you're capturing these points. So not only are they very infrequently spawned, but there's like not even nearly enough of them. You have 12 people on a team, and there's maybe 2 power weapons that spawn on your side of the map, and you really just have to be in the right place at the right time to get it. I think that making power weapons spawn way more frequently and be way more available would kind of help with the fun factor that I feel like is lacking from this game mode. This game mode compared to the arena playlist on the smaller maps is like night and day difference. It's like a completely different game. The arena maps are so fast paced, they're so strategic in how you use portals and flank the enemy, flank objectives, and this game mode just doesn't really have it. It doesn't have that Splitgate pizzazz, and I think that the changes of the power weapons, maybe making the maps smaller, redesigning them to have more of a flow would help a lot with that, versus people just portaling across the map, making the huge space kind of useless, and then just all funneling into one building to try to capture this objective. And the last thing I want to talk about is the progression system, or rather the lack thereof outside of the Battle Pass. Now, Splitgate 2, it's a free-to-play game. It utilizes the Battle Pass kind of system. What the Battle Pass is you pay like a small amount of money, usually less than $10 in a lot of games, and it allows you to use either in-game currency that you earn or experience points to unlock cosmetics and other things. It essentially provides a sense of progression. Now, this has become common as free-to-play multiplayer games have become more popular, and Battle Pass gets a bad name because it is used in games like Call of Booty, which is a fully priced game. You spend $70 every year for Call of Duty, and they still want you to pay more money just so that you can have their Battle Pass and unlock their shit. In Splitgate 2's case, I do not mind the Battle Pass. I don't have a problem with it. Splitgate 2 is a free-to-play game. You can download it, install it on any platform, and you have full access to the entire set of features the game has to offer. It's a really good value for being free, and it's a really good game, and it deserves your attention and your money. So I don't have a problem when they ask $5 for a Battle Pass so that you can unlock cosmetics. However, if you don't want to spend money on the Battle Pass, which is a perfectly valid, perfectly acceptable way to experience the game, perfectly cool opinion and way that you want to do it, that's perfectly fine. What is there in terms of progression to keep you coming back? And the answer is leveling up all 3 of the classes and maxing out your weapons, unlocking all the attachments. Okay, cool. That's going to take like, you know, maybe like 48 hours. If you're a pretty decent player and you're playing a lot, it's not going to take you that long. What else then after that is the question. And the answer is that I don't have an answer. I don't know. There really isn't anything else to keep you coming back and keep you invested. I know that I will continue to play the game because the gameplay and how it feels is so fun to me, and I just really like the concept of it, that I will come back to play, that I will be coming back to play. But I think the unfortunate truth about the world and the state of things is that as time has gone on, it is no longer enough to make a solid game and have these little tiny progression rewards for playing. It's not like, 2007 and you're playing Halo 3 and, oh, I leveled up, I can get a new helmet for my Spartan. People want a little extra pizzazz, a little extra sauce to keep them coming back. And Splitgate 2 just doesn't have it, except from, aside from leveling up the characters. Now, new perks would be cool. New perks, new weapon attachments, maybe make the weapon attachments like a little bit better. Maybe have like upgraded versions of the weapon attachments you can unlock. I don't think the attachments really do all that much in the grand scheme of things. It just comes down to your aim and how you play more than anything. So new attachments would be cool. New weapons would be cool, although you're opening a big-ass can of worms when you're talking about new weapons, because the game is very obviously, designed for a balance between the 3 classes, and they all have the same weapon archetypes. So you'd have to do a lot of play testing, a lot of brainstorming to figure that out, and that's not really a suggestion that I have any sort of insight on how to fix. But adding some sort of progression system outside of the Battle Pass would definitely help player retention. Okay, and not only that, but all the things I've talked about. The maps, the fucking playlist issues, custom games browser, whatever the hell I talked about. I don't even know. I'm literally dying. Like, my brain doesn't work. But anyways, that's all I have to say about this game for now. And goodbye.